The armory was chaos. Soldiers from a dozen species rushed to grab weapons and armor. They were strapping on extra plating. They were calibrating their energy shields. They were checking their mech suit seals. Everyone moved with practiced efficiency but could see the fear in their movements. They knew what raiders meant. There were pirates and slavers. They came from a heavy world, 0.9G, which made them one of the strongest species in the known galaxy. They wore massive armor and carried weapons designed to punch through starship hulls. A raider could tear apart most coalition soldiers with bare hands. Reached the human equipment locker. His team was already there, suiting up, but something was different. Instead of their standard combat gear, they were stripping down to basic uniforms. "What are you doing?" asked. Jackson looked up from where he was removing his gravity band. "We're taking these off, sir, all of them, every weight, every resistance band, everything." "That's not regulation." "Regulations were written for normal circumstances," Jackson said. He set his gravity band carefully on the shelf. "This isn't normal circumstances. They outweigh most coalition species by 50 kilos. They're stronger, tougher, and they know it. But they've never fought humans before. They don't know what we can do in light gravity." Understood immediately. His soldiers had been training under 1.5G for months, some of them for over a year. They had been moving in 442B's 0.7G like they were walking through mud, but without the gravity bands, without the extra weight. "Do it," ordered. He reached for his own gravity band and unstrapped it. The moment it came off, he felt the difference. His body felt light, almost weightless. Every movement had the potential for explosive speed. The other human soldiers were experiencing the same thing. Corporal Martinez jumped slightly and nearly hit the ceiling. Private Anderson picked up a rifle that normally weighed 8 kilos, and it felt like a toy. They were all grinning now, feeling the freedom of movement they had themselves for so long. "All right," said, forcing himself to focus. "We're faster and stronger than usual, but don't get cocky. They are still dangerous. They know how to fight. Their armor is heavy-duty. We need to be smart about this." They grabbed weapons and moved out. The corridor was full of alien soldiers rushing to defensive positions. Noticed they were moving slower than usual. The stress of combat was affecting them. Some were already breathing hard just from running to their posts. The humans were not breathing hard. They were barely breathing at all. This was nothing compared to their normal training. Stonesinger's voice came over the command channel. "Defensive positions as follows. Units to forward bunkers Alpha through Delta. Units to shield generator stations. Units to heavy weapons platforms. Human unit to..." There was a pause. "Human unit to reserve position, Corridor 7. Stopped running. Say again, command, you want us in reserve." "Confirmed, Sergeant. Human soldiers are to hold in Corridor 7 and await further orders." Jackson swore quietly. "They're benching us. They think we're too weak for frontline combat." But understood the real reason. Stonesinger had just learned what humans were capable of. She had not had time to integrate that knowledge into her battle plans. She did not know where to put them or how to use them, so she was keeping them in reserve, safe, out of the way. The humans reached Corridor 7 and took up positions. It was a rear corridor, nowhere near the actual fighting. They could hear the battle starting in the distance. Explosions, weapon fire, the screams of warriors. Private, the youngest member of the unit, was packing nervously. "This is wrong. We should be out there helping." "Orders are orders," Sergeant said, but he agreed. Every instinct in his body was screaming at him to move, to fight, to protect the base. The battle was not going well. They could hear it through the walls. The defensive positions were falling back. The forward bunkers were being overwhelmed. The shields were failing under the heavy weapons. The mechs were being torn apart by superior firepower. Stonesinger's voice came through again, strained now. "All units fall back to secondary positions. Repeat, fall back to secondary positions. Forces are breaking through the forward defenses. Jackson looked at, "Sir, we need to do something. We have our orders. Our orders are to sit here while our allies die." Knew Jackson was right, but military discipline was absolute. If he abandoned his post, if he ignored direct orders from the base commander, there would be consequences. He could be court-martialed. His entire unit could be disgraced. Then he heard something that made his blood run cold. A scream over the command channel, not a soldier's scream, a civilian scream. The raiders had reached the civilian sector. "Forget the orders," said. "We're moving. Jackson, Martinez, take point. Anderson, cover the rear. We're heading to the civilian sector." His soldiers did not hesitate. They moved as a unit, running through corridors at speeds that would have been impossible under their normal training load. The base was built for standard coalition species. The doorways were tall. The ceilings were high. For humans in light gravity, it was an obstacle course made for giants. They reached the civilian sector in less than 2 minutes. What they found was carnage. Raiders had smashed through the defensive line. 3 of them were in the main plaza, towering brutes in powered armor. They stood over 3 meters tall. Their armor was from 1,000 battles. Their weapons were bigger than most coalition soldiers. And they were hunting. Civilian workers were running, screaming, trying to hide. A researcher was trying to protect her younglings. An administrator had positioned himself between the raiders and a group of youngsters. The raiders were laughing. To them, this was sport. Felt something primal awaken in his chest. It was anger, pure and simple. These were civilians, non-combatants, children, and these raiders were hunting them for fun. "Spread out," he ordered his unit. "Take them down." The humans moved without hesitation. Jackson went left, Martinez went right. Anderson and Younger took flanking positions. Sargent walked straight forward into the plaza. One of the raiders noticed him. The creature turned, its armored head tilting in what might have been confusion. It said something in its language. The translator turned it into words. "What is this? A new insect to crush." Did not respond. He just kept walking, steady, calm, analyzing the raider's armor for weak points. The raider raised its weapon, a massive plasma cannon designed to destroy vehicles. It aimed at center mass. The other 2 raiders turned to watch. This would be entertaining for them, watching another weak coalition soldier get vaporized. The raider fired, but was not there anymore. He had moved the instant he saw the raider's finger tighten on the trigger. In 442B's light gravity, with no training weights holding him back, moved faster than the raider's eyes could track. He was 3 meters to the left before the plasma bolt reached where he had been standing. The raider's head turned, trying to track this impossibly fast target. Too slow. Was moving again, closing the distance. The raider tried to swing its weapon around, ducked under it and drove his fist into the raider's knee joint. The impact surprised both of them. Punch, delivered with the full force of muscles built to work in Earth's crushing gravity and moving at speed in light gravity, cracked the armor plate. The raider stumbled. Before it could recover, Jackson hit it from the left. A full-force tackle, all 90 kilos of human soldier moving at speeds that should not have been possible. The raider went down, hard. The other 2 raiders reacted instantly. They were veterans. They did not hesitate. They opened fire on the humans with everything they had. Plasma bolts filled the air. Explosive rounds detonated against walls. The civilians screamed and ran, but the humans were already moving. They did not try to take cover. Cover would not help against weapons that could vaporize stone. Instead, they moved. Constantly, using every bit of speed and agility their Earth-trained bodies could produce. To the raiders, it must have looked like fighting ghosts. One moment a human was there, the next they were gone. Weapons fire passed through empty space. The humans attacked from unexpected angles, hitting weak points with precision and force. Martinez jumped, actually jumped over a raider's weapon sweep. In light gravity with legs built to push against Earth's pull, he cleared 3 meters in the air. He came down on the raider's back, grabbed its helmet, and wrenched it sideways with all his strength. The helmet tore free with a shriek of failing seals. Anderson slid under another raider's legs, firing his rifle upward at point-blank range into the vulnerable joint connections. The raider's armor sparked and failed. It collapsed, its powered systems shut down. The third raider, the biggest one, was backing away now. It was speaking rapidly into its communicator. Could not understand the language, but he understood the tone. The raider was calling for help. Looked at his team. They were all there, all still fighting. Nobody was hurt. These were raiders, the most feared pirates in 3 sectors, and 5 humans had just taken down 3 of them in less than a minute. "More coming," Jackson reported, listening to the tactical channel. "At least 10 raiders heading this way." "Good," said. He was breathing hard now, but not from exhaustion, from excitement, from the pure adrenaline of combat. Get the civilians to safety. Then we show these raiders what happens when they mess with a death world species. The next wave of raiders came in fast. They had heard what happened to their advanced team. They were not taking chances. 10 heavily armed warriors in full combat armor, moving as a coordinated unit. The humans were waiting. What followed was not a battle. It was a demonstration. Years of training under crushing gravity. Months of additional training with resistance bands and extra weight. All of that preparation, all of that built-up strength and speed was finally unleashed. The humans moved through the formation like wolves through sheep. They were faster. They were smaller, harder to hit. They could jump higher, dodge quicker, hit harder than the raiders expected. A warrior swinging a massive war hammer found himself missing because his target was suddenly 3 meters in the air. A raider trying to grab a human found himself thrown over the human's shoulder and slammed into the ground with enough force to crack his armor. They fought back. They were experienced warriors. They landed hits. Private Anderson took a glancing blow from a plasma weapon and went down hard, but Younger was there instantly, dragging him to cover while Martinez laid down covering fire. The tide was turning. The raiders were starting to retreat. They had come expecting weak coalition forces. They had not expected humans. They did not understand how humans could move so fast, hit so hard, keep fighting despite injuries that should have incapacitated them. Then saw him, the commander. He was hanging back, directing his troops from behind. He was bigger than the others, his armor more elaborate, and he was watching the battle with intelligent eyes. Made a decision. He sprinted toward the commander, leaving his team behind. The commander saw him coming and smiled. It raised its weapon, a heavy plasma rifle designed for ship-to-ship combat. Did not dodge, he just kept running. At the last second, as the commander's finger tightened on the trigger, reached for his belt. He grabbed his gravity band, the one he had removed earlier and clipped to his equipment harness. He activated it and threw it. The band landed at the commander's feet. Its gravitational field activated instantly. The effect was devastating. The commander's legs buckled. Its armor, designed to operate in 0.9 G, suddenly weighed 3 times more than it should. The commander crashed to its knees, unable to support its own mass. Walked forward calmly. The commander tried to raise its weapon, kicked it out of the way. The weapon, now weighing much more than designed, flew across the plaza. "You came to our base," said quietly. "You hurt our people, threatened our civilians. Did you think we would just let that happen?" The commander tried to respond but could not speak through the strain of the increased gravity. It was struggling just to breathe. Its armor was crushing it, just like it had crushed Commander Al. Reached down and deactivated the gravity band. The commander gasped, sucking in air, but before it could move, had his rifle pointed at its head. "Order your forces to retreat," said. "Now, or I activate that band again and leave it on until your armor crushes you to death." The commander stared at him. Then slowly, painfully, it spoke into its communicator. The order came through in several languages. Retreat. Immediate retreat. The raiders began falling back. They grabbed their wounded and moved toward their ships. Within minutes, the base was clear. The raiders were gone. Stood in the plaza, surrounded by his team and a growing crowd of coalition soldiers. They had come to see what had happened. They had heard the battle over the command channels. They had heard reports that 5 humans had driven off 30 raiders. Stone Singer arrived with a full security detail. She stopped when she saw the scene. 3 raiders unconscious on the ground, scorch marks and blast craters everywhere. Human soldiers standing in the middle of it all, barely winded. "Sergeant," Stonesinger said slowly, "I ordered you to remain in Corridor 7. "Yes, ma'am." "You disobeyed a direct order." "Yes, ma'am." "Why?" Gestured to the civilians who were emerging from hiding, the researcher with her younglings, the administrator, dozens of others. "Because they needed us, ma'am, and we're soldiers. We don't leave people behind." Stone Singer was silent for a long moment. Her body cycled through several colors rapidly. Then she settled on a bright gold. Had never seen a turn gold before. He did not know what it meant. "That was the most reckless, dangerous, and effective combat action I have ever witnessed," Stone Singer said. "Sergeant, you and your unit are officially reassigned to rapid response combat operations. Your restraining orders are lifted. From this moment forward, when there is danger, humans go first. Understood?" "Yes, ma'am." The crowd of soldiers erupted in cheers, and all together, celebrating the humans who had saved their base, saw faces he recognized. Soldiers who had watched Al get crushed by the gravity band, who had been afraid of what humans might be. Now they were cheering. Later, after the celebrations died down and the base returned to normal operations, visited the medical center again. Commander Al was awake and had heard what happened. "So," Al said weakly, "the humans saved us all." "We did our job," replied. "No, you did more than that. You showed us what Death World survivors can do when they stop holding back." Al's antenna twitched. "I have been thinking while lying here about Earth, about what it means to come from such a place. Every moment you are alive, you are fighting gravity, fighting your own planet, and that makes you strong in ways we never understood." "It's not about being strong," said. "It's about not giving up. That's what Earth teaches. The planet tries to crush you every second. You either learn to keep going or you die. We're just the ones who kept going." "You are warriors," Al said. "Natural warriors, born and forged on a world that does not allow weakness. I was wrong to challenge you, wrong to mock your people. I see that now." Smiled. "You weren't completely wrong, Commander. We are dangerous, but we're dangerous in the right way. We protect people, we don't give up, and we never ever leave anyone behind." Al's antenna rose slightly. "When I am healed, I want to train with you, not like I tried before. I cannot use your gravity bands, but you have other methods, other techniques. I want to learn them. Many of us do." "We'd be honored to teach you," said. Word of what happened spread quickly through the coalition. A human unit had defeated raiders in direct combat. It should have been impossible, but it had happened. And suddenly, humanity's position in the coalition changed. They were not the new species anymore. They were not the ones who had to prove themselves. They were the Death World survivors, the ones who trained under crushing gravity and thought it was normal, the ones who moved like lightning in light gravity, the ones who never gave up and never left anyone behind. 3 months later, received new orders. He was being promoted and reassigned to train the first mixed human-alien rapid response unit. Volunteers from a dozen species wanted to learn from humans, wanted to understand how Death World survivors fought. On his last day at the 442B training facility, stood in the same spot where everything had started, where Al had challenged him, where the gravity band had crushed 4 soldiers. Jackson joined him, looking at the training equipment that was being packed up. "You think they understand now, sir, what it means to be human?" Thought about that question. He thought about Earth, about growing up on a world that never stopped trying to crush you, about learning to walk under pressure that would hospitalize most aliens, about training every day just by existing. "I think they're starting to understand," he said finally. "We're not stronger because we're better. We're stronger because we had no choice. Earth made us this way. Every human who ever lived, everyone who survived childhood, they're all warriors. Because on Earth, you fight or you die, and we chose to fight." "What do you think is going to happen next?" Jackson asked. Smiled. "I think the galaxy is about to learn that when you need someone who never gives up, someone who keeps fighting no matter what you call a human, because we've been training for this our whole lives. We just didn't know it." As they walked away from the training field, reached down and touched the gravity band on his belt. He wore it all the time now, not to train, but as a reminder that gravity could crush you if you let it, but it could also make you strong. And humanity was very, very strong. They learned that lesson the hard way. Soon, the whole galaxy would learn it too. Humans were here, and they were not going anywhere.